Good evening. Today is Monday, first day of a full week. It is August 19th, 2024. Our goal here is to review the market generated information in a holistic fashion. We are intimately following the auctions narrative for both ESN and Q. If we have time, we'll theorize and add additional commentary towards the end. We did speculate in the market today. Please see our video if you like. It contains my real-time analysis. I use these archives as a tool for my professional development. All right, let us begin. We'll start off with our typical questions. Where was the market coming from? Let's do this here with the market profile. So we have our session for today. Oh, that makes sense. And then we have our session for last week. So again, you can notice we opened down here at the 5370s. After we had our bull flag of a week, notice the rejection at the lows and the building volume higher for the first week of August. The second week of August, it was a pure continuation of consolidation, impulse, consolidation, impulse, consolidation, impulse, consolidation, which is where we were for today. You look at this on a daily candle, you have your bull flag for the first week of August, and then you have your consolidation to end it. More consolidation on a Monday, impulse on a Tuesday, consolidation Wednesday, impulse on a Thursday, consolidation on a Friday. That is how we ended the week. So to continue that trend, you would imagine you wouldn't be surprised to see this impulse. And again, we are impulsing over the July's range, starting to eat up into this zone here. Very aggressive, very aggressive. So we understand where we were coming from. What did the market try to accomplish? I mean, ideally, we really just wanted to just build volume above. Ideally, it would be nice and continue the trend of impulse, coiling, and then more impulse, and then another coil, and then another impulse after that. Just kind of continue that. That would be like candy. That would be like a what is it? A cherry on top. But we ended up getting a little bit more. So very good job to the Bulls. We can firmly say that the immediate trend with the Bears being in control is no longer the case. So very nice from the Bulls. They really started this week extremely strong. Let's look at this monthly candle just to see what it looks like. Just beautiful. On a weekly, quite aggressive. All right. And this will be the same situation for NQ. So we don't really have to spend too much time in here, but just out of consistency and respect. Let's go ahead and give it the monthly, the weekly. Notice we're a little weaker here. They did lead us down here. And then we have the daily. Same situation. We are getting over these July areas, but we're still kind of combating with this little zone here. This would be like the middle of July. So we understood where we were coming from. We understood what the goal was. I think it was a hit out of the park for the Bulls and a very weak day for the Bears, given the very low volume and the low volatility. So very just good job overall from the Bulls. A+ day for them. I would say that they're completely one time framing on all time frames. We're really not having any kind of pullback at all. So everyone is really quite bullish at this moment, and it's pretty much turned into a freight train. But we'll go into the details a little later on. Were there any surprises? I believe the just overall strength. We did not touch the prior day's high on the ES, but we'll look at that just a little bit. We got really close in the overnight session. We actually pierced it just a little bit for the NQ once and twice. Yeah, twice. So just something to note. Just something to note there for NQ. We're seeing a little bit signs of ES kind of taking over, or maybe NQ is just kind of needing a little break. So just something worth noting. All right, so we understand how we finished. I'd like to see how these sectors actually performed today. But before we look at that, quick look at the earnings. Really not too much here on the Monday. Looking forward towards tomorrow for the lows. A few more of these other ones I'm not too for sure of. A lot of retail companies for the remainder. On the docket today, we should have had our 7 a.m. Should have had our 7 a.m. leading economic indicators. And we had Fred Waller speaking. And then we have Bostic and Barr for tomorrow. No data. We do have minutes on Wednesday. And of course, we have our data here, 5:30, 6:45, 7 a.m. on Thursday. And then we do have our important Jackson Hole for the week. All right. So before we look at the sectors, I'd like to mention the sentiment that we came in. So again, just where we're coming from, and I'll be sure to add this to the beginning of where we're coming from. But just an understanding of the sentiment, a lot of surprises on the bull side, and just the surprise of the strength. A lot of people are noticing the volume is drying up a bit, and people are not really sure what to think. But I think it's really important to remember that low volatility and low volume can be considered bullish in bullish markets. You don't want to have like a bunch of fear, a bunch of panic, a bunch of volatility. Just a nice grind up. Is definitely pretty pure bull action from what I understand. So we really wanted to see more continuation of that, but there was some residual fear from the prior weeks, and it was kind of tough to believe for some that we're gonna hit over these July levels. Just really disbelief of the straight line up that the market has had so far. And again, this has been tech. This has just been breadth overall, but there hasn't been any kind of pullbacks at all. So very weak structure as a whole. But as we head back, we have tons of support, and it's really going to be nice if we ever revisit this bull flag, this highs here. But we won't even entertain that until we have a possible glimpse. Okay, so let's take a look at those sectors. So we wanted to look at financials for sure, and then this consumer discretionary when we ended our week on Friday. So we'll see how everyone did today. We're up almost a 1%. Communications, there was a little bit shakiness from Google earlier in the day, if I recall. I believe Meta was somewhat decent, a little over, a little green. I believe Google was down maybe like 1%. So it was a nice recovery from Google for the communications. Consumer discretionary did really well. We want to see if Tesla is still thumping. Up 3%. This is very nice. They're back at 216. I like when our defensive sectors aren't leading on days like this. We want to see when it's a good time to buy, we want to see it being put in the major earners, not necessarily utilities, staples, real estate, materials, even in industrials to a degree. And then just a nice hold overall for the banks, for financials, and then our healthcare. Technology is doing what it's doing, really nothing special. I do want to check out Broadcom 1.2, and Apple is about break even. Nvidia ended up being plus 4%. They were down like 1 or 2% earlier in the day, but that doesn't mean anything for them. They can do that in a couple of minutes, it feels like. A very nice day overall for the breath. Good job, Bulls. Let's see. All right, so again, if we look at the prior day, we had a balanced session, which prior day would be Friday. We had a balanced session. Pull up this NQ, the ES. For Friday, we had our balance overnight action. Then we had a low to high day. Nice. And we had a balance for the overnight session. And then for today, we had a balance and then a low to high day again. Low to high days at the highs. This is very good. We're accepting price higher. Fairly simple. We'll look a little deeper at the way we traded. Again, very nice range from about the 52s. I'm sorry, the overnight highs. Sorry, it was pulling in a different, but it was from 55.93. So 55.94 to 55.65. So that was about 30 points of range, which is very nice. And all this was encapsulated above the IB high. We got fairly close to hitting this point here, but very nice defense here. I would like to see this from Tech, but seeing this from ES is just as nice. So very good job for them. As we tested that area, we immediately shot back up. Actually, I think we kind of dojied out for a bit, right? Yeah. So yeah, we ended up having a nice little down spike here. This was a little bit at midnight, so about 3 a.m. Eastern. And we pretty much just higher highs and higher lows into the session. We ended up starting a little above the halfway point from top to bottom. As the market, the RTH session opened, again, we are still above the prior day's range. Still under the overnight highs, but not by much. Not by much at all. As we go ahead and start our session, we have our balance action. We have our open down here. So basically 2 bars up, a nice bear bar lower. We have 3 bars higher. We have a drift lower and then a hold to finish at the midpoint. So overall, it was an open auction for sure on the NQ, if I recall, actually. But this was pretty much an open auction as well, just with a little hint to the bullish side. Given the context of where we have, we were still doing higher highs and higher lows since that down spike. Okay. I'm just looking at this one moment. So where we spike down here in this B bracket. Funny enough, that was the high of this big bear candle down here, which is funny. Interesting. It's cool to see. Need to look a little better at these candle structures in the morning. But okay, so we have our open auction with a bullish tint to it. Finished back up at this open. It was rejected. We tried it again. Tried to trade lower. Rejected once more. Again, don't forget we had our 7 a.m. data. When we first came out, it was severely muted. Nothing really happened. So we just sat sideways for 2 candles, basically. Another open auction still. Trading within the middle of this range. And then we just like burst up. This wasn't as aggressive as it looked in real time. Again, you can look at our video so if you want a little more details. But as soon as that happened, there was just nothing. There was just nothing past there. And then this is when we slowly started drifting down lower until we had our big engulfing candle. And as we had our engulfing candle, literally the same thing as here. We drift lower, big engulfing candle. And then we have our little stand here. We doji out. Ended up having a big outside bar. Claiming the open. 5 smoothing average. Full session VWAP. The RTH VWAP. And we touched damn IB mid. So absolutely bullish. This was a very slow burn. This felt like it took longer than 3 minutes. But this like slowly worked its way up. And then once we got up here, we pretty much just like shot through, pulled back a little bit, and just fucking held this thing. This was a little slow. We started to pick up around here in this area. So again, in real time, this was just really slow. Looking at the DOM, wasn't really too much going on. The volume was disturbingly low. I believe to end the B bracket, we were sitting somewhere around maybe like 300, $400,000, 300, 400,000 contracts traded, which is horrible. So again, we'll look at the footprint in a little bit just for a little more details, but I'm just really just appreciating what happened here. This open auction with the bullish tint, given the overnight session, we ended up having more excursion to the upside, completely reversed all the way down to the through the IB low, and no continuation. So we had our whole bar. Once we closed below, we had one bar which sat sideways, a little excursion above and below, and then the second immediately back into the range quite aggressively. So as we move forward, we need to be looking for situations to buy here. There was a pullback here in real time. We were actually looking at this. We were doing too much damn talking and theorizing than actually putting a risk on. But you were able to trade this absolutely 100%. And then this just rolled to five smooth and average. We really couldn't stay below. Anytime we would get under, we would fight our way back and just claw our way back, basically. Typical trend day, you should be able to notice that maybe around Euro close. And it pretty much just held that same thing, that same pattern for the remainder of the day. We'll take a quick look at the NQ. About the same situation here. We're at the, we'll call it 19,680s, all the way down to the 15,220s. So about a good 400 points. Is that right? Or three something? Let me double check here. Wait, hold on. How much? Oh, I'm tripping. I did my numbers completely wrong. My apologies. That's 170. Yeah, I'm tired. But yeah, so same situation here. We're trading the other prior day's range, except we couldn't get above the prior day's high. So just something to think about. Yes, we couldn't really trade above it at all, but I mean, we like ticked this thing and then completely shattered down and actually broke through the prior day's IB high. So again, these are like little small weaknesses. We noticed this on the bottom as they were showing a bit more bullishness, and we're noticing a little signs of weakness here. It doesn't mean it's going to be prolonged, but again, this is extremely low volume, um, but structure regardless. So as we opened about in the middle of the range, much more aggressive to the downside, testing these levels here, even the little down spike candle there. We'll look a little closer. So again, open auction, we have our open here. 3 bars down, 3 bars up. 3 bars down, hold. We rejected the open. So this would be about an open auction, but given the context of everything, we just call this open auction. We wouldn't say lean into the bearish or bull side, regardless, given this structure. 7 a.m. data still looking a little bearish. Starting to eat up this other candle here, completely burst through. Notice we didn't make that new high. Tick through again, which noticed a little small little highs that we were making and then selling off. Same situation here, and it completely just engulfed. Same situation, but we didn't break the low. We broke the low for ES. So as this situation happens, we go from one close close to actually breaking a range. We immediately climb all the way back up to the IB mid, the 5 smooth and average, and we hit the highs right here. We hit this little high point for the RTH VWAP. And then same situation, bursting through, but not much activity above the highs. But we're still holding above open. We're still holding. Fall the way down to the VWAPs. Broke these both bands. You're trying to find some kind of support. We're still trying. Ended up engulfing. Pull back a little bit. Then we're pretty much just off to the races from there. We ended up testing the IB high a couple times here. Nice little hold. And then we created many singles throughout here. We'll look at the profile a little more in depth shortly, but very nice overall. Very nice for them using the prior day's range, using the overnight session. Typical behavior where we having some coiling. We break below the coiling. Well, we test above, we test below. We have a aggressive retraces back to the middle of the range, we would assume it's a high probability that we're going to continue in that direction than we would when we go back, because clearly we had our rejection. Simple as that. We'll look at the profile because I do want to just show you the singles that were created. So we burst through some recent singles from 8-1. So I'm gonna remove those, and I got a head start and created some new singles. We'll kind of clean these up. We got a little bit more. Actually, these singles are done too. These are from 8-1 and a little bit of July. These are the singles from today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice overall. The overall range isn't substantive or anything, but still singles nonetheless. All right. We already looked at the NQ. We already looked at the ES. B-shape profile on the TPO, but overall multi-distributed. Very nice activity from the bulls. Again, very low volume, but nice range overall. Finished at 67 points. Notice the sellers, ill positioned, and definitely some sellers towards the end, but that's probably more profit taking than anything. Same situation here on the NQ, looking at 342 for the range. All the sellers here. They definitely had their battle all the way through. Buyers won that fight, pushed all the way through, and then probably just a short squeeze to pretty much finish out the day. So again, very good overall. We're at almost 22 minutes. Just a couple of notes. Again, do remember that we are continuing this rhythm of coiling and then in an impulse. Very nice overall. So again, this is a bull market and has been a bull market for a while. Bulls had to reinsert themselves. I do want to remind myself of the quote, bears make headlines, bulls make money. And make sure that we don't underestimate the market. Simply trade what we're seeing. If we're trading above the prior day range and we're bouncing off overnight support or the prior day ranges again, and we're having immediate rejections from the downside and scurrying up to the middle of the range, then that was considered cheap. And it's a possibility that we may have some sort of follow through. So keep it very simple. And then the last thing is do remember that not everyone is generating income at this moment. There are definitely some people who are still losing, whether they're professionals, hedge funds. It can be a tricky market, but you know the market is not really doing anything tricky. They're just showing us what we're seeing. So again, let's make sure that we're following our process. I have several notes that I made throughout our sessions for our review. I'll be sure to apply those for tomorrow. But other than that, we'll go ahead and stop it here. Yeah, thank you.